All right. This meeting's being recorded. This is the Finance Committee meeting for March 11th. It's about 5:37 or so. Welcome, everybody. I guess the first thing we'll do is we don't have any public comment. We approval of the minutes. Now, you said you didn't have the February
I didn't
20th.
print it. I forgot to print the 28th, which is basically there's no minutes for the 28th because
Right.
there was no quorum.
Right. I think you just have to mention that.
Yeah.
So,
That's it.
Okay.
and then we can approve it at the next one.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I looked over the minutes. I thought they looked good. Does anybody else have any questions on it or changes?
Actually, Kurt, we're celebrating the national holiday today. You know what that is?
Yeah, I don't know.
March 11th.
It's National Nap Day.
Oh, is it really? We all use
What
it.
day?
Nap Day.
I missed
You
it.
couldn't have told me that this morning?
Yeah.
I would use that all day.
Is there a motion to accept the minutes, please?
So moved?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous.
So we have no
No.
department requests?
Yes, none. They're actually going to happen on Thursday night. There's, now I think 4 or 5 of them.
Okay. Well,
It's
mark
rare.
that down.
It's rare not to have any.
Well, it's because there was a hard time getting the meeting scheduled for the PPP board with enough people because there's a discussion coming up.
So a question, so are you going to be able to get these through finance before our next select board meeting?
When is your next select board meeting? Is it
Next Tuesday, right?
Yes,
Next Tuesday.
which is the 19th.
Yeah.
19th.
I don't know if there's anything critical on those or not.
That I do not know.
Check my agenda for the...
Yeah, we're probably going to try to add one more thing to their agenda, and that being the temporary assistant town clerk.
The highway department, hire police officer, hire fire department, hourly increase, 2 people.
So probably important, because we won't meet for another 2 weeks after that, if I remember correctly.
So the Andrew Caravo, the highway department, he's held up until it goes through all the
A
steps.
month from now, probably, unless it's an emergency hire in there.
Sometimes I do both.
Is
but
it
I don't know.
possible to have a quick meeting and approve those?
It's emergency, it
I
says.
have an issue with
Yeah,
that.
it's possible.
I don't have an issue with it.
And your meeting's on Thursday?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see why not. Let me just.
And you're meeting Tuesday, right?
Tuesday at 6, so
Does anybody have an issue with coming in here for Tuesday for 5:30, just to approve them? And then we can run them downstairs, or
Yep. See that? So the
the
19th.
19th, yeah.
I'm fine with that.
I think it's okay. It's sticking out for some reason. Any chance Monday night?
That's fine too.
Monday's easier.
Okay, look at Monday. Monday is good.
So Monday, 5:30.
great, thanks.
I know we have, I think if I looked at the calendar, there's a meeting at 6 o'clock in this room, so it means we'll move quickly.
It will not take long.
No.
Look at meet in the hallway if we need to, do that one.
Yeah,
Or
right.
the workroom, I mean, it's just,
Yeah, fine. When you post it, just put wherever.
Upstairs hallway.
in front of the restroom.
The lunchroom is used in a pinch, isn't it?
Oftentimes, yeah.
So that's the 18th, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, while we're talking about it, do we want to, well, I guess we can talk about it next meeting at that point. Okay. Do we have any old business that we need, that we haven't addressed? I know a lot of things have been happening, but I don't know if there's really anything we have to work on at this point. We just got a whole pile of information we got to digest.
And that was the old business, is just finding out where things stood with department heads, and so Ed sent everything to us today.
Right,
So guess what? We have stuff to do.
right,
It's not new business.
okay.
We can do new business first if you want, so.
That sounds good.
That's kind of why I
Yeah.
lined it up that way, so
Yeah.
you wouldn't be sitting here all night waiting.
Okay. So, new business. Kurt?
Okay. That doesn't have to be here, I would imagine. I'll introduce, first of all, I'm a water commissioner, Southampton Water Commissioner. We're in discussions with the Community Preservation Committee now, asking them to fund a project to purchase land to protect our drinking water. And the area of land, John, I think you've seen this.
I've seen all this already, because
That's Pomeroy now?
been to the...
This is Pomeroy Meadow.
You've been to the CPC...
Is your meeting tomorrow night?
A few times.
I saw something on the calendar, but I was looking at calendars.
There is a meeting, commissioners have a meeting, a joint meeting with the Board of Selectmen
Okay.
and the Open Space Committee.
It's an
Have posted it also.
Okay,
Yeah,
because I was looking through calendars, and I remember seeing this parking out.
it's a presentation. So instead of looking at an image on our iPhones collectively, here's an old-fashioned way of doing it. Here's the assessor's maps of Southampton to orient you. Here's North School. Here's Pomeroy Meadow Road. You familiar? We're up oriented Walcott Road intersection coming down here. As you go down Pomeroy Meadow Road, there's this land in here which was called the Kanupka property. It was now in the hands of Gouaches. There's a parcel 1382 highlighted in yellow here. That's what we're looking to acquire.
There's a small field right here, that gets you orientated where it is
That's
on
right next
the
to
right
the
hand
This
side.
is for sale signs went up?
All the for sale signs are up.
It's
Yeah.
not far, not much before that.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
across the
right
streets where the empty fields are, where all the
Right.
deer and everything are. Okay.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct. And so this is geographically where we are. Here's a well for the drinking water off of Route 10. Here's where we're situated, fairly close to each other. So this is what we're trying to acquire, and this is where the dollars and cents will come out and with our discussion. But I should point out that if we can acquire this, 1382, parcel 1382, nearby property owner is going to donate a conservation restriction on 75 acres of their property. This piece is 15 acres that we're looking to acquire, parcel 1382. This is 75 acres. So what we're looking at from the Water Commissioner's perspective is 90 acres of protection of our drinking water if we can acquire this first piece in order to make it happen. And that's all fine and good, but I think the key thing to this is technically and geologically, it makes sense to do this. It makes sense because this is in an area, and this gets outside the Finance Committee's jurisdiction, I realize, but this came to us, to the Water Commissioners, by the woman who owns the 75 acres, her and her sister, and they mentioned that possibility. We're at the time discussing Glendale Street acquisition, and it didn't have much water supply protection characteristics, but it had other good characteristics that lent itself to being a good project. But in discussions with them, they said they understand the Kanopka property would be transferring hands soon, and with the Water Commissioners being interested in the Kanopka property. And from my past experience, where I used to work, I'm familiar with this report that was done in 1987.
You're gonna read that?
No, but I got a hand out there. Let's keep to that.
Thank you.
But what this did was delineate the zone, what's called the Zone 2 of the Southampton water supply. And back in the late 80s, 90s, water systems were busy doing that because there was contamination showing up here and there, not in Southampton, but in cities of Massachusetts. It's like, let's delineate our recharge area. Let's find out where the water is coming from. So when this was developed, I had a passing interest in a little bit about what was being presented here. And one of the key things is this area right up in here off of Pomeroy Meadow Road, and I highlighted it from the report. This is from page 17 of the report. You know, keyed in, essentially, you have that. Essentially says, if at all possible, if you ever get a chance to acquire this property, certainly do so, because this is a key recharge area to the well, one of the key recharge areas to the well. And Professor Newton, who's speaking tomorrow at our meeting at 6 o'clock, will explain the geology and technology about what's going on here. But knowing that, I certainly had an interest in the Konopka property when it came our way. So we're trying to make this happen, acquire the 15 acres, leverage 75 acres, and even the Konopka parcel, which is there now, from what I understand, they're putting 2 houses, or maybe 3, and A&R just went to the planning board. So that may even open up additional acreage, but even if it doesn't, we got 90 acres of protection, possibly more. So with the CPC, we informed them that we applied for a grant, and we can get up to $212,000 in the grant. We're still waiting to hear from the state, but they should tell us this month if we receive that. And 5 lots were divided off in that 15 acres.
Yeah.
And frankly, it could have been possibly more than 5 lots, but
I'll be honest, I was very surprised when I saw that there was only 5.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised.
It went to email.
Oh,
Which are, yeah.
well, I kind of lost it because I don't have the Wi-Fi. Let's see if I can get that.
So what, this is, a little over my head here, but what makes that a recharge area?
Yeah.
What is it about that property that makes it a recharge area?
Good question. Professor Newton will explain that more. And I should point out that when it came to us, and we had an understanding of what this report said, we got in touch with Professor Newton and directly through Pioneer Valley Planning Commission and said, we think it's a good place to protect, but, I'm not going to step further on this if it really isn't. Could you look into it and let us know what your opinion is? And he quickly came back to us with his opinion, said, this certainly is. This is a place to protect. Why? I'll go into it briefly. This area was covered by a lake at one time, 10,000 years ago, 6,000 years ago, whatever. And it has certain depth. And at the edge of that lake, the runoff from the tributaries coming in and the rainfall was much more intense. There's a lot more sediment coming into that lake. And as water comes into a lake with sediment load, the heavier stuff will drop out first, and then the sand will drop out next, and then the silts will drop out in the middle, etc. So as the lake disappeared or receded, the middle area you got the fines, the clays, and the silts, but out on the edges you got these sand deposits. It's kind of rings the area, and that's what captures the runoff and conveys it into the aquifer. And he'll explain the aquifer, and he'll explain. But this area here is one of those areas that was on the edge of Lake Hitchcock, and when the loads were deposit a lot of sand. And they've done borings, they did perk test up there. They went as deep as they could, 10, 12 feet. It was all sand right down to the bottom, which kind of confirms what, earlier indications would be. So, so
That's when they did these perks?
that's when they did those perks, yeah. So you could have these deposits, all along where the old lake used to be, but the position where our well is extracts, if you were further north on Pomeroy Meadow Road, further north, it eventually gets into the aquifer, and maybe Easthampton, might get to the Easthampton wells, but we're probably not going to draw that water. But here, we likely are, the flow of it. So is that, thumbnail sketch of...
So water flows through sand a lot easier than clay.
Yes, it
It's the
does.
basic
That's
premise
what
of
it
that.
does. Yes.
So it gets down to the reservoir.
That's right. And our aquifer that serves the Southampton water has a clay cap almost to it, over a good part of it, which is very good because it protects us from something that may spill on the surface and get in. The entire Zone 2, the regulatory Zone 2 that came out of the 1987 report, covers all the land. The land is covered by silt, and the land has got sand deposits, so it's a very big area. It's called the Zone 2. And I'd be one of the first ones that somebody says, hey, I got land in Zone 2, we spent a lot of money acquiring. I'd be the first one to say, well, a lot of Zone 2 probably isn't, worth purchasing if you're just doing it to protect your drinking water. Because there's a nuance to this, that some areas collect and convey, and some are just, you could buy that, 100 feet of clay over the aquifer, but you're really not protecting the drinking water supply in doing that. So there's a certain, it's got to go through, a filter with us first, whether it even makes sense to protect our drinking water, and it has in this case.
Now, this is the gun range in this one?
Gun range,
Okay,
yes, it
that's
is,
what I thought,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, see,
So here-
I was just really curious too when you're putting that out, only because my land goes right up to that.
What does it? So
I'm
you're
on
one of
the-
the abutters, you're probably on the
I'm-
list of abutters. but-
I'm on Kylene
Right,
Circle.
You're on the, right, you're right here.
I'm at
so-
the bottom of Kylene Circle, and I
What number?
own an acre and a half, and my land goes
Oh,
right
that's
up
it?
to it.
Does it?
What number are
The
you?
gun
I'm
club
10.
or that vacant land?
Both. When you go up to the back of my property, you got the posting for the gun club, and then you have their land to the right. So I got the gun
She
club
would
to
be
the
this lot
left, and
right
that
here.
land to the right.
List of abutters.
So you'll be happy
So
if
I
it
don't,
stays
unless
on.
this is part of it,
You'll be
she's
happy
not
if it
about it.
stays
She's not a butter? Okay, but she's really close, yeah.
Yep,
Yeah,
one
I'm
lot,
like right
one lot
there.
away, yeah.
And I'll
Okay.
tell you what, my land is nothing but sand.
You bet.
You dig down, it's
Though,
nothing but
I would
sand.
have
Well,
believe, though, that-
you're in a great place to recharge our drinking water well there.
I would have to believe she should be on the list as an abutter, because I think anybody within 300 feet of the property is an
Yeah.
abutter, even if they're not direct.
I'll check with
Yeah.
with the assessor there. So I think you're familiar with how the land, you see the for sale signs,
Yeah.
but that's officially what? So he has 5 lots.
Yeah,
And initially, and maybe sequentially, it may happen again, we thought we might be in the right of first refusal process.
yeah.
And there was a document submitted December 31st that we thought initially could have triggered the 120 days. So we had to move to, get the things lined up to get it done by then. And also, what we had to wait for was a bona fide purchase sale agreement to come to an idea, what are the numbers we're dealing with here?
Yeah.
5 lots, bona fide offer, I heard it was something about 600,000. which-
So it's
Yeah.
600 on the notes.
Yeah.
600 nuts, and doing the math, that lot sell for 120,000 in
Yeah.
Southampton, so it's not out of the question, that's the dollar amount, and that's where we got into that vicinity of cost when we came into the community preservation and applied for grant. It's like, this may cost us 600, with other expenses, we were looking maybe 635 as a ceiling, and if we get 210 from the grant, that's asking for, 425 or 35 maybe from community preservation. And go ahead, Tom.
I don't want to stop you, sir.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, going back to the grant, at the time, did we think the purchase would have been like in the 400-something range? That's why we applied for that?
The appraisal was 425.
Okay, so we went by the appraisal value. Could we have gone by, if we'd known it was going to have a valid P&S at 600, could we have applied for 600?
Well, we get half of we only get up to half, and the maximum grant is 300,000.
So
So
that
we're,
would have
yeah, I mean,
brought us up
at
75.
best case, we could have got another 90 from the grant, but.
Still a lot of money.
Still a lot of money.
Yeah, it's good.
So, in talking with the community preservation and everybody involved, it's like we need to have an article ready for May town meeting for a number of reasons, but one of the primary reasons to me is if we do get the grant, the Southampton Water Department does get that $200,000 grant, condition is we got to close on a property by June 30th. And we had that exercise 2 years ago for Cook Road. So we got some experience in this grant in a short amount of time to do a lot of things. So an article for town meeting is important, and prior to having an article for town meeting, you have to get capital improvement committee and finance committee discussion at the very least.
Well, I believe that technically the finance committee really doesn't really recommend, correct me if I'm wrong, the CPC
Yeah.
funds.
Yeah.
You don't.
I don't believe so.
Don't get involved
Well,
with
on the ball field, I think there was some deliberation on that, and I think there probably was a position taken by the finance committee.
finance.
I don't know, that was before my time.
It was,
I
yeah.
thought it was my understanding
If they
that,
take a positive vote, it can't hurt. If they take a negative vote, then yes.
You can support it.
right, exactly, so we could, we
Yeah.
could still get on the.
Yeah, we can give our feedback.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, we still can, but
Yeah.
I think usually I thought, it was my understanding we didn't chime in, but we certainly
Yeah,
can.
there's no financial responsibility for the finance committee, but
Right,
if you're supporting it, it doesn't hurt it.
right,
No, it doesn't.
right, true.
Yeah, and part of the sport really comes down to what's the technical merit of this? How come here? How come not someplace else in our zone 2? Why someplace else in zone 2 not as important? So that's where the technical insight, to me, is very important. And this is what sold me on the project to begin with. This
Yeah.
makes sense to acquire.
I'm looking forward to seeing
Yeah.
the professor's speech tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know.
Who was, because they did have sold signs up there, or
There
sale
was a
pending.
there was a
Sale
sale
pending.
pending, and
Was that us, but then it was
No.
back? Okay.
That was, you had an offer, and then he backed out.
Oh, okay.
I mean, technically, if an offer comes in at $500,000 and is accepted as bona fide, then that would be the
That
threshold.
would be the threshold.
Correct.
The 600,000 never went through, so that's just a number.
Yeah.
Throw your offer out there, John.
Well, that may be part of our discussion.
Yeah.
Put it this way, if it was much over 645, 650, I'd start walking away myself as a
Yeah.
water commissioner.
Well, we knew there was something going on because they did so much logging last year. Oh, my God.
Did it?
Oh, yeah.
That area?
Oh, yeah.
So is it under 61
For
for
months.
logging?
Well,
I think it's under agriculture.
I think
if I remember right.
I think it's 61.
They logged back there all
Yeah.
last summer.
Huh?
Yeah, which doesn't mean you can't log it. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get a, I'm sure they got a cutting plan and
Yeah.
just part of
They're like,
keeping the
they were
That's
property.
good
either gonna be
management,
selling
too. Right.
soon or something, and they tried to get as much money out of it as they could by,
Harvesting,
Yeah.
you know, a renewable resource. There's probably nothing wrong with that, so they do it well. Yeah.
Right. Right.
So that gives an overview, and if there's any questions, and so the numbers we're looking at for the article, and it came up at CPC's March 6th meeting, is if we get the grant, I think it was 435,000, and if we don't get the grant, if we don't get the grant, we're looking at 645. And
Right.
those will be the articles that will be presented. I mean, we hope and we think we'll know if we got the grant before May, so it's going to be one or the other of those
Now,
articles.
just to get you into up to speed, the CPC does not have that money.
That's a good point.
I was just about to ask, what do we have
They
sitting
have to
there right
borrow.
now?
It'll be bonded for
Okay.
future revenue.
Against their
Okay.
future revenues, and that can only
Right.
be borrowed against what? Not what the state gives us,
Guaranteed.
but what we get on our 3% internally.
But they have such a good turnover of revenue, it shouldn't take that long.
Yeah.
Right.
So a
Plus,
question
it was
for,
coming from only one fund, and you can always take from the other fund, I don't remember the name of it, and put towards it also. I
Well,
believe,
this
to pay it
will
off.
be eligible from two. One, it would be open space, and then the other one, which basically 70% of the funds go into, is the undesignated.
Undesignated.
Right, and I think, where were they bonding from, undesignated or open space?
But actually, you could do it from both.
Oh, from both, okay.
And the amount you have in undesignated is about 250,000, and you got about 30,000 open space, so what I understood from the meeting was about 280,000 sitting there, which certainly isn't enough to cover 435.
and you don't want to
Right.
take everything.
No, you don't take everything either.
Right.
And so they laid out what, on a 5-year loan or a 10-year loan, what the annual payment would be in order to make it happen.
So,
And you got those numbers, right? The
Yes, I
5-year
do.
and 10-year? Yeah. Yep.
so Ed, if we go with a article on the warrant for 645, as Carl was saying, and we get it for a lot less, so the article should have some wording in it up to, but not to exceed, so that if we get it for
Yeah.
5, that's all we need, right?
I'm hoping that it'll all be said and done by then.
By then.
And then be,
Unlike Glendale, you know, you didn't know what Glendale might
Yeah.
pass, but
So
Right.
hopefully tomorrow night we'll talk about
I mean,
it.
the cost of the 5-year looks like it's around $50,000 in interest, and the 10-year is $100,000 in interest.
total interest that we
Correct.
carried for that,
Yeah,
if you let the loan run out that long.
Yeah.
right. But it would have no
now,
impact.
those corrected figures, or are those bogus figures?
There you want to see my copy, make sure it matches what John's reading?
Well, don't forget, we found out that in the 10-year run, that they only had totaled the first 5.
Well, John doubled.
Right,
I doubled the.
I doubled it.
Okay, all right.
Right, but the interest is good. On this column, I think is correct, but this column was incorrect.
Is incorrect, right?
Yes,
Exactly.
the total.
Because of that.
He stopped after 5, I think you caught it, what happened there.
Yeah. Right, it has no impact, no financial impact, if you want to call it that, to the townspeople, except for that money is going to be tied up for 5 years. So will have an impact, yes, because it can't be used on other projects, but currently, right now, the CPC has no other projects in the works, as far as I know.
Yeah, but they don't know until they know.
Correct.
That's the issue, you know?
Yeah.
Correct.
If more open space comes up and all that, then, yeah.
Right.
But you gotta go with what you know.
And I've actually broached the subject on them if they would like to start thinking about, because they've never borrowed before, but things seem to be starting to pop up. If they come up with a policy that might limit what they might tie up in any particular year to
Right, a percentage
borrow
or
into the future, whether that's 25%, 50%, or 75%, so that they, don't tie up 100% of this, what's going to come in for the next 10 years or whatever, and not be able to look at any other projects.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, the timing of it is, a year earlier would have been ideal for this project, prior to the ball field expenditures.
Yeah.
Right.
But there was no competition to the ball field back then. But,
Right.
yeah.
And that was just going through my head, how she was saying, well, there's no other things out there that need money, and I'm sitting.
A year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jinx.
Yeah.
None of us have a
At
crystal
the-
ball, so you
yeah.
can only deal with what you know at
Yeah.
that particular time.
That was at the last town meeting in May, when she had said that.
Right, and then there's,
Nothing waiting for
the
funding.
community housing has like $335,000 in that account.
But you can't use it for anything else.
Right, it has to be for that, and I even asked if we could borrow, lend it to ourselves, and that's not possible
Yeah,
either, so.
the only other thing I know that we could use that for is if we applied for community development block grant and got it, we could use some of that funding as part of a town match.
Oh,
And if we were doing, home improvement projects
Yeah.
or something like that, or septic improvement projects or something along those lines.
Now, do you know if, this is getting a little bit off topic here, but if the percentage that goes into community housing, is that fixed? 10%?
Yeah, it's 10, 10, 10, and basically 70, even though, because what they take out for administrative expenses every year is so minimal, I'm just going to round them all
Yeah.
off.
Now, who sets that figure, the state? Or- So we can't change that?
No.
Okay.
Hey, Kurt, the CR on the 75 acres, has that been written up, or is that a promise, or?
that is a commitment from Christina, but there's nothing in writing, and I let her know at some point. It's like, some tangible progress would help,
Right.
There's cost to their family, they're donated, it's quite generous what they're doing.
Yeah.
Very
But they're going to
generous.
incur an expense
It's to do it.
to
Exactly.
do it.
Yeah.
There's a
The
survey,
paperwork,
there's
like,
surveying
yeah.
cost involved, there's legal fees involved, and I think they're not, once they see this as a distinct reality, then they start spending that kind of money. But I don't doubt Christina Mattson will donate 75 acres. Now I'm just coming from
The CR on the...
the conservation restriction.
Yeah.
But as far as having it in writing, that's what we'll have, that's where I see it from the water department. It's 90 acres of protection
Yep.
for
Makes sense.
$600,000. That's what we're going to get. But the first piece of that is we got to nail down parcel 1382 while it's available now. And, there's,
Go from there.
I'm 99.9% sure the 75 acres comes in, and we got to make it, a little more tangible reality as we move along here.
So as far
Can't
as
blame 'em.
conservation restriction goes, now, is the town get ownership of the property, or she's just selling the rights to the
The
property?
rights to certain activities.
So she will still own the property?
She'll still own the
There's-
property.
But you can't build or anything.
Yeah, correct, right.
We just...
So it's like almost like
restriction.
a different type of APR?
Like Barry Searles had with CPC, there was quite a bit of land, I forget what they named, there's a name of that recreation area now.
There
but,
is, yeah.
People can use it, access whatever recreation, but the ownership is still in the Searles name, I believe.
And is there access to that property from?
From Christina's property, off
Yeah,
the road?
But a CR doesn't
I'm sorry,
necessarily...
Rattle Hill probably, right?
CR doesn't necessarily mean you can go on the property and use it for recreation.
Okay, that's.
And I should point out, no CPC money's going towards that
Right.
CR.
Right.
So there's no strings attached that if you get CPC money, you gotta do this and the other. But she's gonna just have it for, open.
Right.
And to me, that's protecting our drinking water, so
Yeah.
that fits
So no
right in with the
building.
objective of what we're pursuing here. If
I
nothing
imagine it's
happens.
open to conversation whether you can have recreation, but that's up to her and her,
Right.
other folks. But you don't have to have a recreation. Just
Right. Brings in a whole other, who's on the hook for somebody getting hurt and all that stuff too. so.
You're right.
One question, so those 15 acres, if we get it purchased, nothing can be done to it, ever?
They're going to say, what passive recreation would we allow in the
Okay.
grant?
No building,
No
nothing?
building, no,
So, okay.
no. It's to protect our
I'm just thinking
drinking
down the
water.
line, if someone says, well, put a town,
No.
nothing can be done with this property, it's just gonna be saving our water.
It's saving our water. When we think about letting a pathway through, or the people that jog,
Yeah.
Where Meadow Road, like to have a little place to jog off and come back.
Because that would not impact it.
Maybe, yeah.
Now, who has control of that? Is it the water
It'd be
commission?
the water commissioners.
Okay.
Similar to what we have on Cook Road.
Now that well that's listed there, is that the only well in town?
Yeah. It's side by side. There's two wells down there.
Yeah.
There's one and two, but that is our groundwater source. We did have the Manhattan Reservoir that we used for a number of years and could still use if we invested a lot of money
Right, need it.
bringing up the treatment and corrosion control and lead and copper, what have you. But it's our usable source of water. That's it, right there. Now, we're doing it in the works, get supplemental from Easthampton. We have another project to back us up with Easthampton, which is very important.
Now, we draw from both wells?
Correct. That's what I was going to
One
ask.
at a time.
One at a time.
One at a
yeah.
Oh, we do draw from both, yeah.
One's got some problems with the screen that allows water to come through the sand formations, and over time, it gets plugged up and it's less efficient. Part of the booster pump station work we're doing is going to rehabilitate
Rehabilitate that.
the wells to get them back to full capacity.
So both of them could be working at the same time?
Conceivably, we got caps on how much we can
I was
withdraw
gonna say, yeah.
and a
With
maximum
DEP.
withdrawal rate, so you couldn't get full capacity on both wells at the same time because you'd be exceeding a somewhat arbitrary
Yeah.
number that says you don't go above it.
On the agenda tomorrow, we're going to talk about a little bit about the Thai Carmody.
No, I don't think so. It's
That's
not
not
on the
the agenda.
agenda. No, there's an answer to that, though. It's in
Is that on the
circulation.
agenda? That we were-
Well, you asked it, John. John, I know you asked for it to
Yeah.
be on the agenda.
Yeah.
I'm the guy who sets the agenda, and I didn't put it.
But it's on our select board.
Is it on your agenda? You didn't
No,
put it
I
on yours?
don't think
No,
it's on
no.
ours, no.
Oh.
But there's written answers to all that,
Okay.
available.
But people are coming asking about it, so we want to
Oh,
make sure
they
that
are.
the public,
Understands it that night?
yeah.
Tomorrow night's really for the geological presentation.
That-
That's
That's
what.
really why we had the select board meeting coming,
Oh, not to see the
Yeah.
geological presentation?
to see it, but
Oh.
not officially as a select board.
Yeah, right, you're gonna have more than, you might have a quorum there
Right, but the
watching
only,
it.
well, we will.
They will.
Yeah.
The only reason is, one of the things we wanted to talk about that. I didn't know it wasn't on there. None of the other select board members know it's not on there.
Well, it was supposed to be on theirs because we...
Well, we got things to discuss in executive session, too.
Well, you can't discuss that in executive. That
Yeah.
should be
Yeah,
a-
that's
Of course
the
not.
open.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of disappointment on that.
Well, maybe it'll be tempered by the things you gain from being there.
No, because the question won't be answered, so we're gonna have to, we need an answer, so we can tell people who are asking us.
We should get an answer to before your next meeting, then. If you're gonna have people come to your select board and need an answer to that.
Well, I think some are coming tomorrow.
Oh, for that reason.
Yeah.
Well, we don't want to take up time with the finance committee on that. Right.
Okay.
No,
We're ready to
no,
move on.
that's disappointing, so we'll have to go off and talk about it.
Right, that requires a whole treatment plant and all
Oh,
that stuff.
the surface water source
Yeah.
does, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the cost to upgrade it, and then the operation cost, the O&M,
Yeah.
was a magnitude higher than the other option we pursued with Easthampton. It was 10 times.
All right, so with all that said, do we want to put a recommendation on the town article if it comes to be? I'm assuming it will be. I don't see why not.
I see an article,
Yep.
definitely.
I mean, as far as any discussion goes, I see no problem in my mind supporting it. I'll say this, I didn't vote for it at the last CPC meeting, I was the only one, but I just felt like I was too confused with all the numbers and didn't have enough information. And like I told Kurt afterwards, I want to see this guy talk tomorrow. But I have no, I have no problem supporting it flipped at the town meeting. So.
I agree.
When we wait till we get the article to sit there and have our stance?
Yeah.
Correct, because, exactly, we need to review it, and, but yes, I have no problem, so.
No, I think it's worth further discussion.
When
Something
will
that's
that article
worthy.
when's it got to be done by?
Probably somewhere around April 7th or 8th.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the other things that will happen, then we'll know if we have the grant by then as well, too,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, I'm the one that's got to draft the article anyway, so.
When is the
You're
town
looking forward to
meeting?
that, I
Oh,
can
yeah.
tell.
Is the town meeting set already?
Yes,
What day is that?
it's always the first Tuesday in May.
That's what I thought, but I
believe it
wasn't
comes out
sure.
The 7th, I think.
Okay.
I'm not that good.
It's on the calendar, I would see that.
I was looking
Yeah.
at it for something else today. That's why it's sticking in my mind. Because I think about a week or so ago, I kept referring to it as like the 3rd or the 4th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so at this point, I'm not looking for a motion or anything, we just got our opinions out there, and
Yeah.
thank you
Yeah,
for.
good opportunity to introduce it to, any further questions, get in touch with me.
Okay.
Right. I plan on being there tomorrow night.
Are you going tomorrow night?
No, I won't be around.
I can't, so there won't be a chance of us being.
Yeah, I won't
Okay.
be around tomorrow.
It's being televised by Easthampton Media.
Right.
But you may not see what's on the screen that well,
Yeah.
from a television vantage point. Okay, thank you for your time.
Sure, thank you for putting
Nice
it
meeting
in.
you.
Thank you.
See you, John.
Helpful.
Yeah,
I'll be there tomorrow.
Okay, good.
So when we do sit there and visit it for town meeting article, we'll say, oh, remember this.
Yeah.
No surprises.
Right.
know the background, you have history on it. and-
Yeah.
Thank you.
Have a
Thank
great
you very
night.
much. Have a good
Hey,
night.
everyone, take care, Kurt.
See you tomorrow night.
Now we're getting to
See ya.
numbers.
Tomorrow evening. Oh, and this, Bob Newton's coming at 5:30, and going me about this.
Yeah, hey, sign that for me.
We're building the
That's the
open at
minutes.
5:30.
Yeah, I usually don't leave, so
Okay.
usually stay long.
All right. We're looking at to be open at 5:30. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Try to make sense of all this.
All right. Current revenue expense reports.
I brought lots of paper for us.
I guess I was looking at the revenue report first off. I guess if you want to look at that one, I just had some questions.
Just a thought, because if it's marked to 228 on there, it's actually to 1231 unless it was corrected from last meeting. Remember the revenue? It only went to the end of December, not to the end of February?
Yeah.
Vicky, the one Vicky sent me?
Yes, if that was what she sent you a week or so ago.
Yeah.
We brought it up at our meeting and found out that the revenue only goes to 1231. even though
Okay.
it says
That's all they have
228.
posted.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you extrapolate the percentages, it's 6 months rather than 8 months.
That could be. Is that on the revenue report as well?
Just revenue.
Just revenue.
Not
Okay.
expense,
That's
just
the one I
revenue.
had.
228, correct?
It says 228, but it
Yeah.
technically it only goes,
For revenue, that's what we were told, yes.
it's only going through December 31st.
Yes.
All right, so this is wrong then.
I just changed some percentages,
Well,
so.
that's right, they ran it as 228, however, the revenues are only posted through 1231.
Gotcha.
But when it says
Right.
as of a date. I
It's
don't know
as
about
of,
you,
but
you
it's
know,
just what's been
yeah.
posted.
All right, so, because, I got other questions, just like, simple things like the excise tax, it's only at 11%. And so I'm assuming stuff like that's still coming in, or when does
When
that?
did the
This
bills
is
go up?
due now,
Bills
I
go up
think.
twice a year?
Yeah,
already?
they're due now, so
Actually,
she has them all.
The biggest commitment
She just
already
hasn't put them in the
already
system
out,
yet.
and they're due back
That was
about
my biggest
the,
issue last year.
towards the end of
People running
February.
so far behind
Yeah.
with getting numbers
And
in the
this-
February
system.
or March?
Why?
February's last.
February.
Due out last month?
Right, so it wouldn't be on here if it was only, if it wasn't posted,
Yeah.
you know? All right, so I guess, this is, I don't know if it's really worth looking at, I guess, but without
So
getting up to speed here.
So this is information only until 12/31, and here we are in March. Why is that?
We're having Vicky and Jen come to our next select board meeting to discuss stuff like that.
That's next Tuesday?
Mainly because of the fact, right now, we're down a person in the collector treasurer's office.
Oh, okay.
But the money could still be coming in, I assume. It's just not. It's just not.
hasn't been posted.
It's not posted.
It's coming in because my check was cash.
Right.
I
Oh,
think
yeah.
so.
We're very good about that part.
Yeah, you're very good about taking it, just not posting it.
Yeah, yeah.
She's got a temp in there, and she doesn't want to train the temp because temp's only going to be there a short time.
Oh, yeah.
I know, it's like, why
She
take?
got a-
I know that's
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
too much.
I think she said she had some finalists that she liked for the position.
Yeah, she's scheduling the interviews.
She tried getting me, but she can't afford me.
I think she's got,
I tried stealing her too. She can't.
Who is that?
Jen. I tried stealing her, and then she
Watch
tried
it.
stealing me.
Watch it there, stay away from her.
Well, you want me to work with her, you just can't
Well,
afford
that's
me.
fine.
Just one question, Ed, on this here, on the pilot, here in the first section, does that get paid at the end of the year, or I'm assuming the $53,000, is that one chunk that gets paid, or how does that?
the state pilot or one of the other ones?
I'd say it's one of the other ones.
Okay, I'd have to look into what that particular one is. It may be the one from Holyoke or Ty Carmody.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
curious, that's all, because it's still at zero, so I didn't know if it was, maybe went away, or we short 53,000 this year, or if it just hasn't been.
I'd have to look into that. From the amount you're telling me, I'm guessing it's the one from Holyoke Water for the land they own around Ty Carmody. but
Yeah.
I would want to make doubly short before I stick my foot in my mouth.
Okay. All right, other things I had questions on, like the,
And usually, pilots come in once a year for the most part, but let me double check to make sure what I think that actually is.
is it usually at the end of the year, or it's something agreed upon when the pilot's
Yeah,
done?
it's usually something that's agreed upon.
Yeah. And then, another one that caught my eye was the fire department inspections. I don't know if it's way down, or they're just not. They're only like 19% right now as far as that goes.
I guess that's because it's only through December 31st.
Yeah.
So I have a question, because this number really bothers me. This real estate taxes for FY17, we're still waiting for $5.6 million?
Doesn't sound
The
right.
second
Well,
one.
it's
That
showing
sounds like
up,
this year.
when it says FY17, so we haven't even collected half of what people.
I think they're mislabeled,
Yeah.
would
Is
be
it-
so.
because take a look at it, you don't have anything for
For night?
for 19.
For 19,
Right.
okay.
Yeah,
All right, that's why
yeah.
I'm like,
I seem to remember that coming up before, that they were
Okay.
mislabeled.
because I'm looking, I'm like,
Yeah.
that bothers me. It's
I
people
didn't catch that
from,
when we were looking at it.
Yeah.
that were owed that money for.
2009?
Yeah.
Yeah, my guess is that,
Probably 18 and 19?
yeah, that those bills did.
Okay,
Yeah, that those should be both 19.
18, 19, or both should be
I
19?
think they should both be 19.
Okay. And so
Yeah,
that is wrong then too?
just a little.
Fiscal year '09, so that should be 19, I'm assuming then?
Yep,
Okay,
yep, absolutely,
okay.
yep.
I was like, oh my God, how can we still be waiting for
Well, I'd
that
be
kind of
happy
money
to.
from 2 years ago?
Yeah,
That just,
So those-
or 10.
yeah, I was like, what? Okay. All right, that's better. So all of this, I'm assuming then should be 19.
Good call, though.
That's the problem with computer systems. Let's go in there and edit the little word titles. Carry them over.
But 09 is so far off.
Yeah, that's just a little
Probably
bit.
a
Yeah,
typo.
just-
Yeah, that's the way that one.
That one's
was
probably a
for-
typo. Yeah, that one's probably a typo.
That's for motor vehicle excise, yeah. Not too many people in town into voting, huh?
It's $15 a vote, isn't it? We used to have a
Something like
vote in
that,
our...
yeah, it's very small.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. That's the easy part, it's registering it and all the other part.
It's 2 happiest days of a boat owner's life.
They buy it when they sell it.
Buy it and they sell it.
My husband's done with them, thank goodness. And then my son just bought one from his grandfather. I'm like, seriously?
Yeah, we went out boating with some friends a couple of years ago. My husband was getting the itch. I'm like, no, because you're gonna buy it, we'll use it for a year or two, and then we'll be done.
There's so much work
I'm
involved.
like, yep. And I told him, I said, just watch how everybody works at these. I'm like, and you hear nothing but complaints about how much you have to pay for gas, and on it,
And the acronym
this,
for
and
boat.
that.
Then you gotta find a place you can sit there and put it in the water.
Yes.
It's an open hole in the water or something,
Yeah.
right?
Bring on another 1,000.
Bring it another 1,000.
I'm sure there's more.
There's several that go along with that, but they're all along the same line.
All right, does anybody else have anything that sticks out at them on the revenue?
Not on the revenue.
Question, so are they, do they have a plan for catching up for the postings, or is it?
Hire someone.
There's always a plan.
Called hiring an assistant treasurer collector.
Is it still at the same rate, $16.98? Good luck. We just hired a bookkeeper and it's like $21 an hour.
Yeah.
It's tough.
And my heart breaks for the, because I've heard her situation, I'm like, whoa.
So I just a side question here, because I saw the transfer station bags. Wasn't at your last meeting, but I did watch it and how they want to ban all the plastic bags.
There's our recommendation give to the Board of Health because they're the one that does it, correct?
Yes.
Right.
But it's not that type of bag.
I know, I chuckled.
Grocery bag.
I
You
chuckled.
brought that point up.
Oh, yeah.
Right. I chuckled at home going, they're going to ban bags, but yet we're selling them down at the transfer station.
Grocery bag, we corrected it.
Yeah.
They caught that.
You know how much money Big Boy's made off of me keep buying the square bags because I keep losing them to my daughter? Forgetting them.
Well, at your next tax sale, you get to sell them.
Yeah, sometimes do sell the bags, sometimes do sell the stickers to go on the bags.
Yeah. Yeah. I am good with that for now. So that's a copy of the same thing.
Lots of paper.
So the expense report, that's the same,
No, it goes to 228.
that is the 228.
Yeah. So the treasurer does the revenue and the accountant does the expense side. And then Vicki merged them both together, correct, when she gets the figures?
Yes.
The expense side looks pretty good all the way through. There's a couple blips, but we went over that in detail.
Were we expecting the building expense for the fire? Because it's at 150%, almost 150%.
Yeah, they had a boiler failure over there, so they had to replace their boiler.
Okay.
That's why they're off. The highway department has had a failure of one of their heaters in their mechanical bay, and the boiler that basically runs most of the rest of the place, they've had quite a lot of trouble with it this year too. So that's why theirs is a high percentage of where it should be.
Who is that?
Highway department, building expense.
So as far as the building expense goes, so it's 43% over right now. Where
They're
does
not
that,
at 100% yet. I'm sorry, what was that, John?
where does that money come from in the end? It's going to be
We'll have to take a look at, if they've got anything they can transfer internally, or
Yeah.
if we have to transfer from outside, from another department in there, or what have you.
Right, I know they gotta fix it, so you
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's something.
can have a bunch of
Actually-
frozen fire engines.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the-
John had actually probably originally told me about that one back in, I bet you it was October, beginning of November, and actually it was, they limped through, well, they asked to have it replaced, but because of the time of year, once you were into the heating season, until it actually totally failed, the heating contractor didn't put it up on their list to actually do it till it actually failed, because they had obviously other customers that they were doing the same thing with.
Right,
They weren't getting-
failures.
Yeah, failures, whatever, so.
Yeah, that should come first.
So, and between this building, highway department, and the fire station, and actually even the police station, high cost of HVAC repairs for this fiscal year.
Tough year.
Have they looked in at all to, I mean, maybe there's already one in place that this stuff isn't covered under, but to have it contracted, a contract where they come in and evaluate and they cover all the expenses and stuff? It's like not really an insurance plan, but
It's an insurance plan.
they come in and that stuff is, it's a gamble on their part. You pay for the service, which you may not need, but it helps you out if you do need it. But I don't know who'd want to insure it if it's not already not so good.
It's so old.
Well, sure, but you don't want to pay the cost.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, all of those, depending on what highway department we're still going to use, their prime candidate for a new boiler. Library next year is going to put a new boiler on their capital requests, because they're starting to see more frequent repairs to it, and it's 22 years. This part is probably one of the newest, other than what's in this building. Theirs is 22 years old. And then you get to both the fire station and police station. Yeah, they're both due, but then again, where does that fit with the new public safety,
Right.
safety complex? So.
Right. I'd rather see the money go to that, but.
I mean, eventually, if
And-
we use the buildings, we still have to do
Right, I was
something in
gonna
those
say that.
too, but
Right.
you would rather know what the reuse is to dictate what you're actually going to put in for an updated, heating or ventilation system too.
Now, I saw also at the select board's last meeting, the highway got some pretty rough
Trucks, two down.
Oh, yeah.
truck problems over there, so. I didn't get to review the budgets. Is there anything in there for that coming up, or?
Well, that would be for capital, and we
Yeah.
really need to replace at least one, and then the question is, do we need to really look at do this year or not? I'm hoping that we can do one this year and one next year, but it's going to become, both of them are going to become necessities.
How old are they?
Oh, God.
I thought one was like 94 or something.
Yeah, I think one's a 94 and the other one might be a 97 or...
We had an article on the warrant, last year for a little over $200,000 for a truck, and it didn't make it. So it'd be interesting.
Yeah.
It's hard to sit there and, as a townsperson, justify it, because I think, okay, just plow my roads, but when I work for someone who does plowing and we have the back trucks that are always hauling, you have to have them, and the costs and maintenance kind of goes up. So 94 and 97,
Once a
those are old trucks.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Oops, someone's here.
Makes you wonder, how, at
Hey,
that.
Mike, how you doing?
Hey, Mike. Makes you wonder if at that rate, if, at that expense, if there's
Is there another
cheaper
meeting?
way to go.
Police,
Right. Yeah, something different. Mike, we don't get any visitors.
I'm just early for my 7 o'clock in this room, so...
Okay.
We were already bored.
Is there another meeting? I don't know.
I'm just going to sit back here and...
Enjoy the conversation.
You could have fibbed, huh?
All right. Anything else that sticks out?
And I think one of the things I'm going to actually try to do, and I don't know whether I'll do it like ask Randall to do it on a Saturday as an open house, or actually do it at the end of the day, but I probably would like to get both the Finance Committee and
That'd be a
the Board
good
of Selectmen members to actually take a look at and physically see the equipment.
Right. You know, it might not be a bad idea to do something like that. If you can leave it up for the town to see something, you know, put it at in the school parking lot and see what it looks like. You
Oh,
know?
I wouldn't want to ruin the school parking lot.
Oh, that says it all. But no,
You know, I thought they were going to try that last year. They were going to have it at one of the select board meeting or something like that, but
Well, that was my idea, and Randall didn't like it too much, and now this year he's kind of coming around.
is there a way to sit there and like compile the maintenance costs for the past 2 years per piece of equipment? So when the people come look at this older piece of truck, this is what it costs each year.
I don't know if we can break it down by piece of equipment, that's the
Okay.
issue.
yeah.
See, I'd have to
Put some kind of posting on it, and like I said, leave it in people's view.
Well, yeah, just something so that they can start seeing the reality of the cost. You got this piece of equipment that's worth this much, and this is what it costs to keep it maintained, and it's not running, and so maybe they'll get them moving along to think about it. I know as a taxpayer, I don't want to pay for it, but
But, yeah.
I want my roads plowed, and then again, I work for someone who has dump trucks, and I watch the price tags, and
Oh, they're, yeah,
Yeah, it's so cheap.
they're,
no.
keep going up. And probably the last 2 to 3 years, they've gone up substantially because the federal government has been changing the diesel regulations and the emissions on them. And it's gotten not only expensive to purchase the equipment with that added stuff on it, but it's also added to the cost of even maintaining those new pieces of equipment once you have them. Changing those filters.
Yep.
See, our trucks are not used for plowing, our dump trucks, and so they're able to last all these years. I can't imagine the dump trucks on the road having to actually plow.
Yeah.
It beats the heck out of them. That's
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And so maybe if we can sit there in some way of saying, okay, how many miles of road are being maintained by these, just so the townspeople might start absorbing the idea that, you know, this is something you have to pay for.
We add roads every year.
Yes.
Yeah. In faraway places.
Well, maybe if you retire a truck, you can park it up on Quigley.
We're not giving him a truck.
We recorded.
I know.
Okay.
I knew.
Where's this microphone?
He'll watch it and laugh. He's good.
Yeah, sure.
You're right.
All right. Any other questions on this? It does look like it's moving along pretty good.
I think the department's doing a very good job
Oh,
of
yeah,
keeping within the budget.
There's a couple little pockets, but overall,
Yeah.
yeah, it's been knock
Yeah.
on wood.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I think they realized after last year that it's a tight year and they've got to
right.
work with it.
And we'll see, I'm sure we'll see the expenses come in eventually for that last storm as well. 'Cause I know
Yeah.
there was a lot of time and effort, and which, that was pretty good. I don't, I have a scanner at home, and I don't listen to it, but I put it on times like that when I know
Yeah.
things are going on. And
Oh, the windstorm?
yeah, and it was actually from my home, I could hear it was very coordinated. It seemed very good, and it sounded like the fire department was out with their chainsaws, and they're like, "Go cut these trees, go cut those. Where to next? Go here, go there, go there." So
Well, I was trying to drive home, and just up on College Highway, you could see them coordinating and trying to keep roads open and with the lights flashing.
yep. So yeah, I think they did it.
Yeah, the storm was
Good job.
brutal.
The comments on the budget, on the
I guess my only thought is
expense reports.
just somehow we can delineate the date on the actual report before we scan it.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice and if you don't.
Even if you handwrite it on, just so
Yeah.
like say, hey Gloria, look at this.
Yeah, it only goes to this date because it's confusing, you know?
Right.
I honestly thought it was a typo in the email, so
But you say they're working on it, so hopefully that's
I know she's working a lot of hours trying to pull this off.
The next one will, yeah. There's only so much
You can
you can do,
Yeah.
right? Only so much you can do. All right, Finance Committee 2020 budget review. I know we just got a bunch of stuff, but
Yeah, I sent that over probably a week ago. I got them from Vicky. But I don't think I printed them out for everybody.
No, I remember
I'm
seeing
starting to shirk my
that.
duties here. Too much paper this week.
as far as our budget goes, we don't really have a budget, so.
No.
You do. What is it?
Well, we kind of,
$250.
$250.
yeah.
Well, so you can control the reserve fund.
Yep.
There you go. Another $55,000.
And there's been no request for that, has there?
No.
It's interesting. I don't remember a year like that.
Yeah, right?
Now everybody knows we're
March.
$5,000. But we're not
Because it's
hiding.
so small.
Yeah.
Really, really doesn't
Yeah,
fund much that comes up on an emergency.
right, right. That's true. Any comments on that? All right. The last thing is, which I don't have the information, is the bylaw
Yeah,
review.
is there a way to connect to a printer here? It's right there.
What do you want?
The bylaws, the bylaw review?
We'll see. I asked, Lucy had asked me about it, and I said, if you can get me the before and after, so I can, because I said it's before my time.
Okay,
yeah.
So I don't even know what you're talking
So
about.
we'll put it on for next,
Right, and she said that she had the comparisons, or the two that she could send me, and I never received it, so.
no, I only have the original one that was sent to the Finance Committee email a few weeks ago.
Right,
And then I can remember you replied back, but I haven't seen
Right.
anything since.
right, I looked at it, and I didn't get anything back yet, so. To me, there's really not much to talk about there without, because I don't, like I said, it was before my time, I don't know if you know much about it, Sharon. Actually, I was bouncing the questions off of Mike this morning at the gym.
Yeah.
And he filled me in some, but without having it in front of me, I'd rather see that first.
Yeah, I'd have to look at it to,
Because they had a meeting on
This week,
the 7th or something, that they were trying to button it up.
right, 7th.
The bylaw committee or bylaw review board or whatever they are.
I'll follow up with Lucy tomorrow.
Okay,
I'll remind her that we're looking for this stuff, because we are meeting next week, so if she has it for us.
sure.
yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good. All right, so liaison reports. Sharon, I know you weren't at the last meeting, I was there.
I thought it was canceled.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because school was canceled, so I thought the school couldn't open. So I'm like, oh, so the meeting was canceled. Because I thought once the school was canceled, they can't open it. And then they're like, oh, no, the meeting's going on. I'm like, really?
If it was a sporting event, it would be true.
So,
But
is that what it is? Is it's only,
I don't know. Because when we had basketball practices up there, if it was canceled but beautiful at 9 o'clock in the morning, all day long, it was beautiful out, they would still say, nope, no basketball practice because school's
right.
closed.
See, and that was my impression, that the school was closed. Okay, so the
Yeah.
meeting's canceled, they can't open the school. So I didn't go. I'm like, oh, they'll
Yeah.
reschedule the
I think
meeting.
I think what ended up happening is, by statute,
Uh-huh.
they have to have the public hearing, they have to act on it, they have to approve it and move it on by certain dates. And I think what ended up happening was, they realized that if they didn't have it that evening,
They weren't gonna have
that
it.
that they were not going to be
Oh, okay.
in the statute's requirements, so, and the fact that it did actually turn into a fairly decent day, that thing.
It was beautiful,
Right.
because I don't think school should have been canceled. A delay, I think, would have been good.
It was a fun meeting you
It's
missed.
those,
Yes, it was.
yeah, okay.
Yeah. Right, so anyway, they did vote for what they called level funded. but it's not, wasn't truly level funded.
Well, it is level funded.
Because they took the 2.5%.
No.
Well, no. It's the fact that they've lost revenues.
Oh, that's right.
So
Yes,
that
yes,
they're
yes.
making, even though it's level funded, they're going back to the towns to make up for those other lost revenues.
I got you, yep, okay,
Well, it
okay.
was still at like 14,380,000, somewhere around there. But our part is 209,000 more this year proposed?
I thought it was
128,000, 191.
128.
191.
128, it was two,
Well, I looked at that number today too, so it's stuck in my mind.
It's always two.
Don't think I'm that good, John.
it was like 2.52%.
I think
Yes.
2.51 or 2.52.
2.52.
Increase to the town of Southampton.
Yep,
So 128.
right, for the town.
And the only free money we're gonna have after new expenses and new money coming in was 120.
129 or something, it was close.
It was almost the same as they're asking.
Really?
Yeah.
I actually think it's more than that, but that's my
Yeah,
own personal.
right, but as far as what Vicky gave us here.
Yeah.
So that negates that if it truly goes through at
Yeah.
town meetings.
Right, and after the vote, I mean, Southampton had first and seconded the article or the motion to accept the level funded. And most everybody, there was only like 2 or 3 people, I think, that didn't vote for it. It wasn't unanimous.
But it was a big controversy.
No, I'm
Yes.
sure it was.
Yeah, it went on and on, like an hour and a half before they
Credit to
voted.
our 5 school committee members that were there.
Yeah,
Good.
they held their ground.
They usually do
Proud of
really
them.
good there.
It was interesting because they couldn't get a second to a motion to go with
The middle
the
one.
level service.
Yeah. No, the level service is
Yeah.
higher.
Oh,
one.
right.
They had come back with a middle ground between the level funding and their level service, and that got a motion and a second and got a vote, but the vote didn't
It's only
pass.
three to whatever the other number was, right?
Yeah. So they held firm. And
Yeah.
Because we had a block, that really helped.
Mhm. Yep. Anything with the PPP?
No, there was no meeting since our last meeting.
No meeting, okay. And then, as far as community preservation goes, it was pretty much, Kurt kind of covered pretty much what we talked about. That was really about it, was the Powder Meadow property. And bonding the money and the expenses for either the $455,000 grant, and if they don't, not grant, a bond, that's with the grant, and 655 approximately, these are just approximates at this point, nobody really has a firm number, without the grant from the water department, so. And that was really about it for the CPC.
I think I saw on the agenda that North School meets this
I think
Wednesday.
it's this Wednesday, yeah.
It is, okay. Any other business? Mike, you want to come up, let's sit at the table for old times?
Thank you. 16 minutes.
The select board is meeting tomorrow, and they could appoint you if you want to join us again. There is an open space.
Fortunately, my evenings are full.
Did he say fortunately?
He said fortunately.
He said
I
fortunately.
heard.
Hey, with a young child at home, they're busy every night.
Oh, not so young anymore. Baby's already a year, right? It's old enough to move on.
Sorry, wow.
Pretty soon he'll be
Watch
begging
out,
you guys to
Dad.
take him back. Terrible twos are coming.
Yeah.
torrential 3s, ferocious 4s.
All right, so we have our next meeting scheduled already for Monday, 5:30, 3/18. Do we want to plan anything beyond that at this point, or we just want to schedule it at the next one?
Why don't we schedule it at the next one in case anything comes up between now and then?
Okay.
If we feel as though we're gonna need to meet within a week,
Sure.
or if we can hold off for 2 weeks.
Sure. And I'm gonna review all this stuff we just
Yeah.
got this week too, so.
Yeah, I'll go through
I
all of
literally
it.
just
yeah.
printed it this afternoon.
Yeah, when you want, when, let me know, and I will let them know.
Okay, it's possible we might schedule something too.
Yeah.
Now, you had said, let's see, what were you talking about? The police department?
You've got new chief, so you're going to have probably, you may have some new direction. And from what their request was, I considered it considerable, so I think you should
Yeah, we'll look it over.
go over that one with them.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, we can do that. So, are these, so I didn't, like I said, I didn't get a chance to look through them because we just got this stuff.
Yeah.
But, so everybody listed here is
Is in there.
Is in here.
And if you look at it, you know, in the electronic form, the Excel,
Yep.
the tabs at the bottom,
The
you'll
colored
see
ones.
the yellow ones are the ones that are already in there.
Okay,
Vicki had done that,
I'll
so it
forward
makes it easy to
the files to you.
identify.
Okay.
okay. Okay, perfect. Anything else? Oops.
So next Monday, 5:30.
We have a motion.
Okay, motion to adjourn?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm just
There's a
gonna-
motion to adjourn.
Yes, so moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous.
Okay, so I will get a hold of Lucy. I'll print the minutes.